Hi witches, welcome to the Witching Week. Today is episode 126 and it is Samhain. Today we're going to be talking about pumpkins, we're going to be looking at the big changes that happen around this time of year for some people, and we're going to be looking at the autumnal colours that are around that are just absolutely incredible. So put some incense on, grab a cup of tea, get comfy, and we'll explore the Witching Week. Hi witches, hi everyone, welcome back, thank you for being here, thank you for watching. As I said in the intro, today is episode 126. I can't believe we've got to this number, and it is Halloween, happy Halloween, and it is Samhain, blessed Samhain. We're here. I know that many of you have waited all year for this date. So first things first, today I am drinking Twinings, cranberry and raspberry, just finishing those off. I had loads of these as a result of having like multiple multi-boxes. There's nothing wrong with these, they're really nice actually, but for some reason I saved these till last. And we are burning, I can't remember if I used this one last time, but we're burning the opium version of this Ayurvedic brand, which I really love. It's a bit like the Satya patchouli forest, a little bit, not exactly, but yeah, really enjoying this masala incense. So yeah, welcome back. I'm so sorry I wasn't here last Friday. I had the really awful lurgy for, well, it felt like forever. It was over 2 weeks. So the week before I had managed to obviously record and get up the Witching Week on the Friday, and then things went south with my chest, my asthma, and just this awful cough that came with that particular virus. I know lots of people have had it or they've got it at the moment, and the cough just lingers forever. So I was in no fit state to do it last week, so I had an admin day. I was still working, but yeah, I just could not sit and cough the whole way through for 35 minutes to an hour. So I'm really sorry. I'm back now. We haven't had a very good run this year, what with operations and the lurgy, but yeah, next year will be better. It's just one of those things, unfortunately. So before we get onto the topic of Samhain, I'd like to know if anyone remembers this mask, this Halloween mask from the 1990s. It popped up on one of the pages I follow on social media, something like 90s Kids, something like that. But it's funny how you forget things, isn't it? And then when you see an image of something or you hear something, you are suddenly transported back and the memories are really strong. I'd forgotten about these masks, but as soon as I saw this, I was like, oh my goodness, yes, I remember that. I was a child in the 90s, a young child. So yeah, this was a real sort of trip down memory lane for me. So Samhain is here. Like I just said, some of you have waited literally all year for this day. It's your favourite day of all. What are you going to do to celebrate? Let me know if it is your favourite day. I'll be honest, I would prefer to be celebrating the opposite. I'd prefer it was Beltane, but the wheel keeps turning and you've got to go with it, and I do really love Samhain as well. Traditionally, this is the start of winter and the end of summer. The Celts had 2 seasons, which for me, living in this cold house, makes a lot of sense. And yeah, we've had the clocks go back as well. That happens just before Samhain. So it's really dark now in the sort of late afternoon, and it's a little bit brighter at the moment in the morning, but we're soon going to lose that. We have entered the last waning phase of the sun. It's all downhill from here. If you love the dark, you won't consider it that way, but the days are going to get shorter now from now until Yule. So we've got 7 weeks. 7 weeks, and then we will swing back the other way, and we won't see the benefit until Imbolg, and even then it will only be slight, and it won't be until sort of March time really. And then when we get to the equinox, we're going to be at a balance again. So it all happens really quickly. This year has just gone so fast, but I'm really looking forward to solstice. I am actually really looking forward to Christmas for a change. Normally I don't enjoy it. Well, I enjoy it, but there's a lot of anxiety for me in getting it all ready and done and paid for and stuff like that. I have actually started, talking of my Christmas shopping, including this humongous bag of cards for my Patreon. It was quite busy in the shops, and this was last weekend we started it. I think lots of other people have got the same idea. Next year, I want to be organised by the 1st of November. I've done it before, I've managed it before, but yeah, we'll see whether it happens next year. What about you? Will you be ready soon, or are you one of those last minute Christmas Eve kind of people? I'd hate to be one of those. I think the biggest problem for me is that the shops are just so busy that you can't really sort of like look around and get an adequate idea of what you're looking at, and people are pushing and shoving and it gets really hot and all the germs. It's just not for me. It's just not for me, but we'll see. I would like to be done and dusted by the 1st of November next year, which is probably a massive ask, but we'll see. Pumpkins. I want to talk pumpkins. It's the perfect day for it. My friend who watches The Witching Week sent me a really funny reel a couple of weeks ago saying that 1 in 3 women are currently putting tiny ceramic pumpkins around their house. Let's have a look at mine. They're not all tiny, but I do have some ceramic pumpkins, and that they are drinking pumpkin spice lattes and what else, burning pumpkin spiced candles, and that this is a seasonal disorder known as pumpkin contonitis, which did really make me laugh. So funny. But actually pumpkins are really interesting. I did a post on Instagram in the week about going to the pumpkin patch, and I included some pumpkin facts, and I'm going to share some with you today because they are just really fascinating things. So they first came from sort of North and Central America, Mexico, that kind of area. And at a Mexican archaeological site, they have actually found seeds from about 5,000 to 7,500 BC. So they've been around for a long time. They are now grown on every continent except Antarctica, which you might imagine. And October the 26th is actually National Pumpkin Day in the US. Each pumpkin has about 500 seeds. And in the UK, I found the figure of 1.5 million pumpkins are grown, but actually I think it's a bit more than that because I found one farm that produces several million. So it's several million, but in the US, they produce somewhere in the region of about 1.5 billion pumpkins per year, which is just absolutely crazy. There are about 45 different types, and they have some amazing names, things like Spooktacular, Ghost Rider, Tricky Jack, Sweetie Pie, Autumn Crown, Baby Bear, Fairy Tale. And I must admit the pumpkin patch that we've been to this month had some really beautiful varieties, so many different types. A huge thank you to Ketton Pumpkins, we had such good fun. The Native Americans actually taught the Pilgrims how to cultivate and cook pumpkin. Illinois in the US is the state that grows the most amount of pumpkins apparently, and Europe's largest pumpkin producer is actually in Spalding in Lincolnshire, so not too far from me. We in the UK now have pumpkin patches cropping up all over. This wasn't really a thing when my daughter was little. My daughter's 18. It wasn't really a thing. It might be the odd place had, you know, really sort of foreseen what would happen in the UK, but our Halloween celebrations now are becoming a thing. Again, Halloween wasn't that big when I was little, and over time it's grown and we're becoming much more like the US. I actually love that the commercial festival of Halloween is becoming a thing here. I think it's really good. I think it's lots of fun. And obviously it does hark back to older times, to Samhain. This is where its roots are at. And yeah, I really love it. And I think it just cheers everyone up when things are getting a bit dark and a bit dreary. So as we think about Samhain and we think about our ancestors and we perhaps think about some of the older members of our community, I wanted to celebrate a lady called Natalie Grober, who became, at the beginning of this month, the oldest female Ironman finisher. This woman is absolutely incredible. She learned to swim at 59, and at 80, she's just completed an Ironman. She swam 2.4 miles, she cycled 112 miles, and then ran a marathon of 26.2 miles. She did this in 16 hours, 45 minutes, 26 seconds. She completed her first half Ironman about 20 years ago, and then a few years after that she managed a full Ironman, and she's kept going, and she's now got to a point where she is the oldest female finisher. She's signed up for 2026, and she's actually looking to challenge Hiromu Inada, who became the oldest person to finish at 85 years old in 2018. So if she's the oldest female finisher, I can only assume that he was a man. So she's looking to do that. So I just wanted to celebrate her, really. It's just such a huge achievement and really nods to her grit and determination, because it can't be easy doing that at 80. I would have loved to have done an Ironman. Before I got poorly with my heart problems, I'd always been very fit and well, always been a runner, always went to the gym. Even with some of my other conditions, you know, things like ME, I would handle those very, very carefully, and it would mean I could do some level of exercise. I can't do that now, and this is an example of one of the things that, you know, I would really love to do, but that dream is beyond me. So I guess there is some element of sort of winning the lottery of life, and obviously she's a well woman to be able to do that, but to continue doing that and to be doing it at 80, I think is no mean feat. So well done to Natalie Grober. I can't find my words today, can I? So I want to talk about the amazing autumnal colours that are out at the moment. This is due to the long, dry and warm summer period we've had, and actually, as I mentioned before, our good weather has gone all the way back to February this year. I found an absolutely fantastic website, which I'm going to put the link down below. It's probably a bit late, really. I mean, the colours will continue into November, but a lot of trees are actually shedding their leaves, and will do really at this time of year. A lot of them, I've noticed, have shed their leaves without them changing colour as well. But anyway, you can use it for next year. It's Great British Gardens, and they've got a live colour chart which shows you the colours you should expect in which week as things change. There is a list of the 100 best places to see autumn tints, leaves and colours. It's a really good resource for next year, and it's a shame though, because this year is the most spectacular they reckon at in many, many years. But I think the leaves falling give us a really good message, don't they? They teach us that it's beautiful to let things go. They teach us that everything has its time and has its season. And it made me think of a beautiful quote that I saw this week. So I'm just going to read this out to you. Yule demonstrates that light will always return, while Samhain affirms that darkness must have its due. Both are equally holy. Observing the wheel of the year shows us the sanctity and necessity of integrating light and dark, and teaches us how to do that within ourselves. So I think the leaves falling remind us that darkness must have its due. You know, as that quote says, that the wheel of the year and observing it is necessary, because then we understand from the position of all of those festivals what must happen in our lives at that particular time, and not just the environment. But there is the reminder, isn't there, when we think about it, that spring and new growth will return. So I think trees have got a lot of messages for us. I like the fact that none of them are uniform, and they're all beautiful, and I wish we saw ourselves more that way. I think if we listen to insights from trees and the message of the trees, I think there is a lot that we can take from them. So I got my copy of Pagan Dawn magazine this week. This is something you can buy at various outlets, and comes also if you're a member of the Pagan Federation. This is their winter edition, so I think it covers winter to sort of Imbolg. Heavy focus on Samhain in here. Page 90, there is an article by Zana Buxton Kelly, which I really liked, and it's about protection spells, counter magic and apotropaic workings. It says Diary of a Folk Witch at the top, and I just wanted to read a little bit out to you, a bit about something called leeting, which is, as she explains, a Lancashire custom. Leeting is a Lancashire custom that has for the most part died out in the county, though there have been attempts to reintroduce this old custom in a bid to prevent it dying out entirely. Regionally, it was believed that upon All Hallows Eve, evil spirits and witches would wander. In the case of evil witches, they were said to gather together and climb the local hills where they would participate in diabolical rituals and cast evil spells. Locals would apparently light torches and candles and walk the villages, lanes and hills as a means of both deterring evil while simultaneously blessing the land with light for the dark months to come. Others would burn candles in their windows or hearth overnight, believing that such a light would deter any malicious spells or evil eye that would try to enter the home. In an attempt to reclaim this old custom, some witches have been practicing a more generalised protection ritual that also incorporates the old ways of leeting or lighting. For those who are now practicing leeting, instead of wandering the moors and hills with a lighted flame on All Hallows, they instead choose to walk the perimeter of their homes or gardens with a candle in order to cast out ill will and harm. The candle was then left burning in a lantern at the window for both protection and blessing. For some, this is also done in memory of all those who were tortured, convicted and killed for supposed crimes of witchcraft, especially as leeting itself seems to be a practice introduced in response to the Pendle witch trial hysteria. I thought that was really lovely, and it does give you a bit of an evocative picture of an actual witch hunt, doesn't it? If you imagine a group of villagers with lights and, I don't know, pitchforks and candles walking around the village looking to drive out evil, to me that says like looking for witches. So I thought that's really lovely. One of my traditions that I've had going now for many years, more years than I can remember, is I do light a candle just before sundown, and it goes in the window or at the hearth. I take it upstairs when I go to bed, and I leave that candle burning all night. And that has a dual purpose, and that is partly for protection, as described in that little passage there, and also as a light to guide any sort of wandering or lost spirits home. So I really like that. I really wanted to share that with you. And then on page 35, giving away all the secrets of the Pagan Dawn. I promise you there are still lots of lovely things in here for you to read without me showing you these two things. This lovely diary, which is the Country Wisdom and Folklore Almanac, Diary Journal, whatever you would like to call it. I have actually ordered that, and I will be reviewing that along with this one, the Astro Moon Diary and the Sabbath's Almanac. I usually do a video in January. I might do it in December this year, I'm not sure. But anyway, I'm going to be reviewing that, and I have ordered a really lovely planner. As you guys know on this channel, that I use a planner every year, and I sort of use this planner in conjunction with all these other sort of diaries and almanacs to really sort of plan my weeks and my months. And I've ordered something really special, so I'll be showing you that. They're not doing a 2026 Ecolo planner, so the one that I've been using for the last couple of years, which I loved, they're now doing a 2025 to 2026 planner, and I don't know why, but I just don't want one of those. You know, I've already bought a planner of theirs that's taking me up to 2026. Why do I kind of want to go backwards again and have to transfer some of the information, like birthdays for example, from that book into the new one? I feel like I'm sort of buying it twice, and it just doesn't feel very sort of whole to me. Like, my brain works in certain ways, and I don't really want a year and a half, I just want the years. So yeah, Ecolo, I'm sorry, you've lost my custom because of your weird 2025 to 2026 planners. I'm sure some people would love that, and for somebody who's buying their first planner, that might be really helpful. But for me, I found that a bit annoying. First world problem, really. I'm not really complaining. I simply found another planner that I'm going to try, and I will be sharing that with you. But I will say it's amazing, and I can't wait to show you. At this time of year, talking of ordering planners and stuff like that, I really love this time of year because I've noticed that big change seems to happen at this time. So I tend to set goals, and I've done this not on purpose. I've done this just naturally. So for example, in 2023, I decided I was growing out my hair again, growing out the silver. So it's actually 2 years now, this week. I ordered my diaries and my journals and my almanacs. This week I've gone carb free in a bid to try and lose a bit of weight. It just feels like change is in the air at this time, and it's weird because I don't feel this at the opposite point in the wheel of the year. So I don't feel this at Beltane, but I do feel this around this time of year. And I wouldn't say that I necessarily feel like October into November is the start of my year, perhaps spiritually, but I'm not, this change of plans or this, this setting of goals isn't consciously in relation to the end and the beginning of the Celtic year. I'm not associating it with that. It doesn't feel like it's because of that, but I wonder if there's some sort of ancient ancestral memory there. I don't know, what do you think? When is your sort of time for making big changes? I also like to do this at the beginning of January, when the calendar year starts, which is really, really odd. I mean, that's when I like to do it. But yeah, I'm noticing that when I do actually do it, it tends to be in this last week of October. It's really, really strange. And it's taken a few years to really, really notice this. So yeah, let me know. Let me know what you think. So one of the things that I've seen this week that has actually upset me a little bit, and it sounds like I'm having a right moan, doesn't it? What with planners and stuff like that. But I've seen one of these walking challenges in relation to the Salem witch trials. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, there is one that's Lord of the Rings, and the idea is you walk to Mordor, you use the app to log your walking distances, and then they send you out a medal at the end. And it's very expensive, which is why I've never signed up for it as much as I would like to walk to Mordor. But this one that I've seen is in relation to Salem and the Salem witch trials. And I think they're marketing it as walk to Salem and explore America's most infamous haunted city. But I feel like it's based on suffering. I feel like there is a difference between having a Lord of the Rings one, which is totally fictional, and selling something off of the back of real suffering that happened. And I feel like it sort of detracts from that suffering. I don't like this kind of appropriation, and I'm sure some people really, really love it, might have signed up for it, might be doing it, but for me, I guess it's just not for me. And I feel quite sad every time the advert pops up. It's something bad that happened in history, and I feel like it's being used to make money, and that just doesn't sit very well with me. I would understand if it was just like walk to Salem or walk around this historical town, but the witch trials are specifically being mentioned as the main selling point. And I don't know, maybe I'm being oversensitive. What do you think? Tell me. I'd like to know whether I am being oversensitive or whether you think this is a fair point. But it feels really, really inappropriate to me, and I don't think this is the way to remember the victims. I don't think the victims are even really being mentioned. I don't know. I haven't got the app because obviously you have to pay, and the whole package is very, very expensive. They are very expensive. I just feel like it should be marketed a slightly different way, and I just think it's a bit of a shame. But there we go. That was just my thoughts on that. That was just something that had cropped up as an advert a few times this week, and I thought, I'm going to mention that on the Witching Week because I'm not sure how I feel about that. So now I just want to give you guys, before we have some cards, give you guys a reading on Persephone. So we've got A Year of Pagan Prayer. I absolutely love this book, as you know. And in this poem, Persephone, Australian poet Frederick Manning here mourns the temporary absence of the goddess. A garth is a garden or yard, so for the purposes of this poem. Yea, she hath passed hereby and blessed the sheaves, and the great garths and stacks and quiet farms, and all the tawny and the crimson leaves. Yea, she hath passed with poppies in her arms, under the star of dusk, through stealing mist, and blessed the earth, and gone while no man wist. With slow, reluctant feet and weary eyes, and eyelids heavy with the coming sleep, with small breasts lifted up in stress of sighs, she passed as shadows passed among the sheep, while the earth dreamed and only I was ware of that faint fragrance blown from her soft hair. The land lay steeped in peace of silent dreams. There was no sound amid the sacred boughs, nor any mournful music in her streams. Only I saw the shadow on her brows. Only I knew her for the yearly slain, and wept and weep until she come again. I just thought that was really, really nice. And that is in the late October part of this book. Right, time to do some cards now. I'm sorry, I've sort of stumbled and mumbled my way through today's episode. I still don't think I'm 100%, even though I feel much more human now. Let me know in the comments how you're doing, whether you're well and what you're up to. Maybe you're in the Southern Hemisphere and you're actually celebrating Beltane today. Let me know, I would absolutely love to hear. When I was shuffling these cards, a thought suddenly sprang to mind, and I thought these are going to be cards for the next year, basically, the next turn of the wheel. We are at the end of October. This is the threshold between the traditional seasons, summer and winter, as observed by the Celts. So really this is the start of the new year. And I thought, yeah, let's have a reading for the year ahead. Let's have a reading that's going to take us from now until Samhain next year. So really, I think this is a really, really encouraging reading that speaks mainly of boundaries. I think boundaries is the word here. Boundaries, not to be difficult, boundaries never take away, but boundaries for self-care and for development and for becoming who we're really meant to be and for enjoying our lives. So first of all, we have the Knight of Wands. Oh, and more fingers and thumbs today, as well as lips and teeth. Then we have the Seven of Wands. And then we have the Emperor. So a lot of very, very strong energy here. We might have a court card, a major arcana and a minor arcana, but I feel like there's some quite strong active energy here, not passive at all. And if we use sort of an old-fashioned way of doing things, I'm going to say a masculine energy. And it's energy that we all have within us, regardless of our gender. First of all, there is the positive note to be bold, be courageous, to go for what we want, to get ourselves out there and to really sort of hunt down and seek what it is that makes us happy, to take some risks, measured risks, to really, really go for it and give the world and your life everything that you've got. There's also a little bit of a warning here about standing your ground and fighting for what's yours. And I think that when we are brave and we are gregarious and we are courageous and we are active and we do really sort of go for what we want, I'm trying to think of a term, it's not jet setter, but you know, we really go and grab life. I think sometimes that can throw up some conflict. There are those quite often that are a bit envious, that really wish that they were like that really wish that they were braver, that really wish that they could go out and grab what it is they want from their lives. So there's a little bit of resistance there, but this is a message that's saying how to respond to that. So that is to basically, again, sort of stand your ground, you know, be mature, be in your power, stand in your power, do what's right, be responsible. Now, of course, there's always the risk with the Emperor that you can be a bit too serious. So we want to drop that. But this is all about just knowing who you are, knowing what you want, going out there, getting it, be fair, being fair, just stepping into that authoritative power that we all have that's within us if we're only just brave enough to tap into it and to show it to the outside world. So yeah, that is the message, kind of for this week, but also, yeah, with the bigger picture. So thank you so much. If you managed to get to the end of that, I'm really, really grateful, because it's not been easy this week. I want to wish you an absolutely magical Samhain and a very happy Halloween, and I will see you next week as we are in the new Celtic year. Sending you so much love and many blessings.